Let me proceed by setting the context of this debate, if I may. Being the first speaker, it is quite my duty to set the context for which the teams will be arguing this motion. Pasta, not paratha, is India's flavor. Now, if we look at it strictly in gastronomical terms, it will be quite an absurdity. So, let us see what we mean by pasta. Now, pasta is a very popular dish in the West, and paratha is being very popular dish in East. Let us take pasta to be representative of Western culture as a whole, of being Western cultures, Western traditions, Western ways of thinking. And paratha being the traditional Indian way of thinking, the traditional Indian culture, the traditional Indian messages. And here I come to argue that pasta, not paratha, is India's flavor. Now, obviously, a lot of you may be quite outraged by this very notion. You may say that, of course, our great Indian culture, our Sanskriti is what's most important for India. But we must take a deeper look at what India wants today, at what India aspires to being today. We do not aspire to be the Gupta era India, which is supposedly the golden age of India. We aspire to be the modern superpower. We aspire to be a modern country, a country which is at par with the first world or the global, and be the leaders of the global south as we speak today. So when we say pasta, not paratha, as India's flavor, we mean that India is aspirational in its qualities. India aspires to be more than it is today. It aspires to be more than it has ever been. And for that purpose, it aspires to adapt the Western culture and traditions to ourselves. I'll give a very slight example of this from the very debating world. In the World Universities Debating Championships, universities are divided according to English as a foreign language or English as a native language. And India, despite every indicator being that English is a foreign language to us, we chose English as a first language to represent ourselves. Why? Because we aspire to be held in the same levels as the Harvards and Yales of this world. We are not because we are uncomfortable with being held at that level. We aspire to set the standard, not merely meet it. And that is why we chose to represent ourselves with English as a first language, even though that may have kept us in a slightly more competitive category. It is because we aspire to be at the leadership positions. We do not merely go by the scraps of the tables. We aspire to have a seat at the table. To have a seat at the table, we must take pasta as our flavor and Indianize it, which we have been doing for many years now. Today, if you go to an average Indian restaurant, you will find pasta there in the menu, but you will find a very different flavor of pasta from what you find in USA or in Italy. You will find a tikka wild pasta, chicken tikka pasta or something like that, because we have Indianized it. We have made it our own. But at the end of the day, it is not our dish. It is something belonging to somebody else. It is something belonging to the West. And that is what has become India's flavor. India's flavor has become that which we have taken from the West and adapted as our own and made it our aspiration, made it our place in the world order. The global hegemony might not yet have place for parathas, but it definitely has a place for pasta. So our motive and our only way of going about it is to Indianize it and make it a chicken tikka pasta rather than a pasta Alfredo. And that is where we are headed to in this modern age. And with that, I'm very proud to propose.